Do you feel like you must stick with an escorted group tour in Cairo? Well, we'll show you how we booked our own private Egyptologist and driver for the same money, giving us the freedom for our own custom itinerary including the mosques, ensuring we saw the treasures of Tutankhamun during the transition to the new Grand Egyptian Museum, and explore the streets, markets and mosques of historic Old Town Cairo, ending at a rooftop restaurant at prayer time. Plus showing a great hotel option to stay right on the Nile. But was a private itinerary the way forward? Come with us to find out. Arriving just before dawn in Port Said, you could see the coaches lined up for the official cruise excursions. And given that we had an overnight in Cairo, we had opted to go rogue and book all of our travel independently. However, as we travelled at the very start of the Israeli occupation of Gaza, we were somewhat nervous as we're dealing with complete unknowns. So, finally made it to Egypt. A little bit on the nervous side.
Yeah, a little bit.
Going completely independent travel, and given the situation in Gaza at the moment, everybody was, don't go, do go, but the whole ship is going, so we're off to meet our tour guide, Imad, and wish us luck. Now, aside from checking foreign office advice continuously, and the cruise line would have pulled the ports of call if a concern, we were thankfully able to proceed. Got out the port, met our driver, no problem at all. The issue we now have is that we've been sat here for about half an hour. We've had another group of 6 Aussies come and join us to keep enough and to keep cool, because no one can escape because it's utter gridlock. But be warned, the port is a 2.5 hour to 3 hour drive, so it was mid-morning before we arrived at our first stop of Cairo Citadel and the Mosque of Muhammad Ali.
This is for the army, that's for the mosque. See, this mosque, I mean, its rocks came from the pyramids, and it is covered with this kind of white color alabaster.
Now, our officially registered guide and qualified Egyptologist, Imad, was an absolute delight to spend the day with, bringing each of the stops to life with his extensive knowledge, answering our questions and giving an attentive personal service you could not get on a group shared tour. I'll put links in the description as always, but we made all of our travel arrangements through Egypt Adventures Travel. Having found their content online, they are genuine authority in all things to do with Egyptian travel. And aside from running their own escorted tours, their founder, Gus, provides travel consultancy for bespoke itinerary planning, facilitating booking official guides through a local company, Lulu's Holidays, and worked with us to create an individual itinerary to meet our specific needs. Now, I appreciate this may not be for everybody, and some may prefer the reassurance of an official cruise excursion. This did, however, give us complete flexibility with a bespoke schedule, and most astonishingly at the same price as an official cruise line tour. So Cairo Citadel, the high point in the city, and we've just done the Mosque of Muhammad Ali. We just had the history to it all, and it is just absolutely stunning. All the videos I've seen of they just do not do it justice. So absolutely go inside and see, it is absolutely, will take your breath away. Now, we sadly did not have more time to explore the rest of Cairo Citadel, as it was time to head into the city centre and Tahrir Square and the original Egyptian Museum. But not before a detour for lunch, and instead of a tourist haunt, headed to a local restaurant for something authentically Egyptian, a bowl of traditional kosori.
What's this dark stuff?
Lentil.
Lentil.
Yes, you can start. Next.
And no trip to Cairo would be complete without visiting the treasures of the pharaohs at the Egyptian Museum.
Look at the facade, look at the face. In the middle is the head of goddess Isis or Isis, goddess of beauty and life. And left side and the right side, that is Queen Cleopatra.
And once inside, this is where it really paid dividends, having your own private Egyptologist to hand.
This is some phrase. What does it mean? It means God made the soul of the king fly with the gods in the sky.
Now, it's worth noting that we visited the original Egyptian Museum, and the iconic building has been the home of antiquities since 1902. However, we visited just prior to the eagerly anticipated opening of the new Grand Egyptian Museum on the Giza Plateau, and which you can see in one of our next videos where we visit the pyramids and were able to secure preview tickets to the public spaces. And after many years of delays and postponements, is slated to open on July 2025, complete with Khufu's solar boat and the new Tutankhamun exhibition. And although the gem, as it's known, will be the most popular attraction, due to the size of the collections, the original Egyptian museum will also remain. And, unlike us, should you have the time, there is a third site, the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, also known as the Mimic, is the home to the Royal Mummies Gallery. Now, we were concerned given the transition that we would miss out. However, was delighted to say we were still able to visit the Tutankhamun exhibition. And although you are not allowed to film or photograph the sarcophagus and the famous death mask, other treasures from the Boy King's tomb are on display. And if, like us, you find ancient Egypt fascinating, then make sure you subscribe to follow our Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady series, as in our next videos we will explore the Pyramids of Giza and Safaga, and then after sailing through the Suez Canal we visit the Temple of Karnak at Luxor and the tombs of the Valley of the Kings, including that of Tutankhamun. However, the gem will only help enhance the experience, as the noise and crowds can be a bit much. But as you can see, at times we even struggled to hear Imad, and we had him to ourselves. And with other guides competing to be heard, can only imagine how much you would miss if you were part of a large tour group. As now also splitting the collection over 3 sites will also mean there'll be more on display. Egyptian Museum done, very much was a bucket list item for us. I'm pleased to say that despite the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum that's pending, we were concerned we would be in that limbo period where a lot of the exhibition would not be here for King Tutankhamun. That was not the case. The death mask and all of the key bits that you've seen, images, those iconic things, were all here to see, which was a huge relief. But this place is actually packed to the rafters, and that's since they've opened another museum, and the gem has yet to open as well. So you could just imagine back in the day, this place must have been wall to wall. So from the museum it was only a short drive to then check in and freshen up at the Nile Kempinski Hotel. This hotel came highly recommended, so we'll cover in detail in the next video. The great rooftop pool overlooking the Nile, but we sadly had enough time to check out a sunset from our balcony before heading into Old Town Cairo. Now, Cairo can feel like an onslaught to the senses, what with all of the noise and the traffic, and even more once you move into the narrow streets of the old city. But with Imad to guide us through the rabbit warren of alleyways, we explored the bazaars and markets of Khan El-Khalili, leading to the famous photo opportunity for your social posts. Though out of shot, be prepared to jostle for position to take your turn next. Now, many travellers are concerned about the vendors in Egypt and how pushy they might be. And although it might feel like running the gauntlet in some of the major tourist sites, but here in the old part of town it really wasn't an issue, with all the vendors being very relaxed and chilled. Plus, another benefit of having your own private guide is that you are less likely to get approached as not seen as fair game. But moving north now away from the markets and bazaars, you now move into the more historic part of the original ancient walled city of Cairo. Designated a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, this is what we'd really come to see. And following the main thoroughfare of Moes, you just want to take your time soaking in the atmosphere and the impressive architecture. Though just wish we'd had a bit more time to explore some of the many mosques along the route. Now, we had originally debated staying up at the Giza plateau to get the view of the pyramids in the evening, and of course for an early start the next morning to beat the crowds. But I would strongly recommend that you stay in Cairo city centre instead, as not to miss out on the hustle and bustle of the old city, whose character is utterly unique. So it only seemed fitting to end the tour at a local restaurant that came highly recommended and with a fantastic setting. I'll put links in the description as always, but serving traditional Egyptian cuisine, you'll find Zeeyara Rooftop Restaurant. And we were lucky enough to get this characterful restaurant pretty much all to ourselves, and then timed our arrival perfectly for evening prayer time. So with the evening lights coming on with daylight fading, and with the adjacent mosque broadcasting the prayer service, could not have better epitomised our old Cairo experience. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you follow our Virgin Voyages Resilient Lady series, where the following day we visit Saqqara and Giza and climb the Great Pyramid of Khufu, and then travelling on to Luxor to explore the Valley of the Kings, plus other incredible ports of call on our bucket list itinerary, where we had previously visited Athens, Santorini and Rhodes, and in contrast to all the history, end in cosmopolitan and modern Dubai. But most importantly, we please ask that you hit that like and subscribe buttons. It really goes a long way in helping support this channel and for us to bring you even more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much. Now the long day and early start was taking its toll, so it was time to head back to the hotel. So we're extremely thankful that we had opted to do the Cairo overnight stay rather than face a 3-hour trek back to the cruise ship. But thankfully, it was only a short walk from our restaurant choice up to a well-preserved section of the original city walls and one of the last remaining intact gates. A short drive back past the Egyptian Museum and a rather vibrant and colourful Cairo, back to our hotel, whose position on the Nile was absolutely perfect, for if the sunsets were impressive earlier, the nighttime lights over the Nile were definitely worthy of a nightcap before bed. Which brings our first day in Cairo to a close, but make sure you check out our next video where we explore this fantastic hotel that we wish we'd had more time to appreciate, and why staying here was definitely the best option for exploring all Cairo had to offer. Alternatively, just check out one of our many other varied destination videos. But for now, drop us a like and a comment. Most importantly, thanks for watching and see you again soon.